I have some theories I want to discuss. I'm probably going to be theory crafting a little bit at the beginning of this video, because now I'm starting to see on Disc 2 the differences with the original Fullmetal Alchemist and Brotherhood. I'm now starting to see those very obvious differences. Like, I remember some elements of the story of the original, and the way this changed, like, at the beginning of Brotherhood, like, around episode 12 or so, or 13, there was some massive changes in the story compared to the original, which I expected as much, because this follows the manga. But I was shocked with some of the things that was done with Disc 2. Now, I'm just going to say right now, this video is probably going to contain original Fullmetal Alchemist spoilers. It might contain some of the spoilers from the original, not Brotherhood, because I don't know what's going to happen in Brotherhood, because Brotherhood is starting to take a different route. And I want to discuss some of the things that are different from what happened in Fullmetal Alchemist, you know, the original anime adaptation. So, in this, it is revealed that, it seems like, I could be wrong, it seems like, because it's not officially revealed, but I'm assuming that father that's been mentioned a couple times through Disc 1 and then kind of introduced in Disc 2 is the Elric brothers' father. And when I saw that, I'm like, the fuck? Like, what? Like, you know, I was just like, what? So, here's the thing. I remember in the original Fullmetal Alchemist, that didn't happen. Like, that right there did not fucking happen. And, like, the father element of Fullmetal Alchemist, I don't think it was actually handled until, like, the final episode of the series, the final 2 episodes of Fullmetal Alchemist, if I remember my information correctly, which it's possible I have mixed matches of information, because I've forgotten majority of what happens in the original, because like I said, it's been a fucking long time since I watched it, but I remember some things, and that father reveal, I'm like, ooh. So here's my theory I just want to bring up. I'm assuming, like I said, I could be incorrect, because this is now going on a different path compared to the Fullmetal Alchemist anime I first watched a long time ago. This is down a different path. I'm assuming father is the father of the Elric brothers. Now, I could be incorrect, there could be something else going on there, but I'm assuming that's what it is. And what I found very ironic is, around episode, it was episode 15, yeah, it was episode 15 or 14, episode 15 or 14, the face, or not really the face, father was introduced into the anime. Like, we get to see his voice actor, we get to see how he looks, and they kind of shade over his face and give him 2 glowing red eyes with a shadow all over his face, and you can make out the 2 little, like, hair licks that stick out of his head. You can tell who that is because of the opening song. So, I mean, the way they tried to hide that it was kind of someone either that looks identical to the Elric brothers' father, or it is their father, that they kind of failed, because they spoiled that in opening 1 and opening 2, so I don't know what to fucking say. I mean, unless Edward and Elle have, like, their father had a twin brother or something. I mean, that might be a possibility, but I'm just saying that right now. So what I'm getting at is this, like, the way the introduction of father was done. It was awesome, yes, and it shocked me as original watcher of the anime series, but overall, if this would have been the first time I watched Fullmetal Alchemist's content at all to begin with, I honestly would have kind of already realized who that was, because the opening spoils the fuck out of you with that kind of reveal. But it's nothing too major. What I really want to get into, though, is the aspect of the homunculus, or the homunculi, in this adaptation. I remember, now that I started watching this too, I'm starting to remember some information from the original. I remember the homunculus were introduced differently. Like, the way they were done in Disc 2 of this adaptation Brotherhood, it was kind of revealed that these homunculus were made from father. And that, I'm like, what the fuck? Like I remember in the original anime, like I said, I know it's going to be different. I remember in the original, the homunculus came around because, this is spoilers, just saying, spoilers. I remember the homunculus came around because of failed taboo alchemists, you know, trying to bring back someone from the dead. I remember that's how the homunculus are made in the original. And I come to find out in this, is that father made the homunculus. And from what I could assume, the way he made them was that he split his own soul. Like, if you look at the way it was done, like, the way he goes into it and what he talks, and, like, when he starts monologuing, he kind of says, like, I split my own soul. He might as well have said that and been straightforward. It's like he said, I split my own soul into multiple different fragments and made these homunculus. Greed, lust, wrath, and envy. He made them, and oh yeah, also Sloth. We got to see an introduction of Sloth. So I'm assuming there's the 7 deadly sins. The 7 deadly sins are in the series. There's 7 different fragments. I don't know if Father counts as one of these sins. He might. There's 7 main villains. And there might be even more. There's a possibility. Because there could be possibly other homunculus if the homunculus are indeed made by splitting your own damn soul. Because that's what I'm assuming. That this dude, Father, figured out a way to split your own soul and separate it into these different artificial humans, which would be homunculus, and I'm quite shocked to see that, the way that was done. Like, that makes me Furycraft to think that's how it's done. How, or what happened to that beast? Like, you know, the, like, creature, whatever, at the beginning of the series of Brotherhood, when you saw Al and Edward, they failed their taboo ritual when they were trying to bring back their mother. There was, like, this demonic jelly fucking beast, this abomination thing, and if I'm correct, that should have been a homunculus, but I forgot who that was, because I've forgotten a lot of information from the original Fullmetal Alchemist, but the thing is, so what was that? If homunculus are made from Father, or splitting your own damn soul into segments, are they trying to let me know that right there, what we saw, might have been, like, something to do with the Elric brothers' soul being split apart? Is that what I'm assuming? Because if I'm correct, if that is what it is trying to imply, and it's trying to take a different path around that would mean Edward and Al, they both, like, lost their bodies and stuff, and it probably went to that homunculus. Like, they split their soul or whatever. Because Father was in this, like, treatment care. Like, if you look at Father, he was, like, strapped up onto this fucking chair, and he had these test tubes and all sorts of shit going into him. And when he drinks this, like, glass of blood that was greed, and, you know, he brings the soul that was greed back into him. Now, I'm also going to Furycraft and assume that that blood, or whatever that was, that came through the test tubes towards Father after greed was melted alive, I'm assuming that's the Philosopher's Stone, because in Disc 1, we come to find out that the Philosopher's Stone could be any shape or form. It could be liquid, it could possibly be gas, it can be, you know, solid, and so I felt like the way the shape and color of that was, the way it turned into liquid, and the way the color of it was red, you could look at it as if it was blood, but I think it's more along the lines of maybe a Philosopher's Stone. So what if Father's just eating Philosopher's Stones? That's what it looks like, or drinking Philosopher's Stones. That's what I am assuming. Now, I know this is already way different from the original. I know this is way fucking different from the original, so I'm quite shocked to see this. Like, I'm now starting to get very hyped up, because now I don't know what the fuck to expect, and I'm wondering what direction is this going to go, because there's just so many things I see going on here now, and I'm like, okay, so what's the goal? What is this dude's goal? Father's goal? I mean, there's something else going on here. There's a sacrifice. There's constantly been sacrifices mentioned. You have it to where Lust is constantly mentioning sacrifices, how they're important sacrifice, these different people. And so I'm guessing when I think of sacrifice, I think of people that's going to be sacrificed for the Philosopher's Stone. But what is the real in-game goal here for the main villain? Because there's two things that most likely could be. In majority at the end of, or the half of Disc 2, like right towards the end of Disc 2, we get introduced to some of the concepts that Greed wants to get. Greed wants immortality. And since we find out that these homunculus, greed, lust, envy, and so forth, so on, you get what I'm getting at, are, I guess, fragmented souls from Father, I'm guessing these different fragments are actually the different things that Father wants, like the things he lusts for, the things he wants like he's greedy for, things he's envy of, stuff like that. And I'm assuming each of these homunculus represent the personality of what Father wants. And since greed wanted immortality, I am assuming Father wants immortality, because that major concept kept reoccurring in Disc 2 a couple times. Now, at first, I thought maybe Father wanted to bring someone back from the dead, but who would he want to bring back? That's the big question we have to wonder. So I'm assuming it's probably immortality, because the dude's strapped up to a fucking chair. It doesn't look like he could probably even walk. He's just, yeah. Oh yeah, that also comes to make me think about a couple things too. So Father's on a chair and it looks like he's fucking old. Like, he's very fucking old. How old is he? Like, we come to find out that Greed is 200 years old. Greed said he was 200 fucking years old. Now, Raph, you know, Bradley, he is 60 years old, and he's an aging homunculus, which, right there, that's kind of crazy. But he's an aging homunculus, and he's age 60. Envy and Lust, I'm assuming, are probably around the same age or time frame as Greed. So that would make it to where Father's 200 plus years old. Holy shit. So, if that is the Elric brothers' father, my god, like, he is old. Like, fucking old. So, how has he lived so long? Wait a minute. I just got a theory just thinking about that. I just got a fucking interesting theory. It just dawned on me. I remember being into a lot of Philosopher's Stone type series books. I remember from the original Harry Potter series. I remember, you know, different books I've traveled and read through my journey of reading books and just liking literature to begin with. And I know about Nicolas Flamel. Nicolas Flamel was the dude that was kind of wrapped around the Philosopher's Stone and, you know, history and stuff like that. He quested for it. And if I remember correctly, the Philosopher's Stone has kind of, in some legends, been an elixir that you would have to take every so often. And what if the reason why Father is still alive is because he's making these fake Philosopher's Stones to keep himself living for immortality? Because the Philosopher's Stone has always been wrapped around eternal youth or eternal life. That's the main thing you've always heard when it came to the Philosopher's Stone, and it would make a lot of sense if that is what Father's wanting to achieve. So that also goes along with what his main end goal is. But what if the reason why Father's still around 200 years right now, probably 200 plus, is because he's been killing people and sacrificing people for he can live a longer life, for he can have immortality. I'm assuming that's what's going on now that I think about it, because the Elixir of Life, the Philosopher's Stone, Nicolas Flamel's quest for the Philosopher's Stone, and how it's constantly in the legends and myths and stuff like that, how you would have to drink it every so often, maybe once a month, or every week or so forth, so on, to be able to have its effects. I've seen this in different myths and stuff like that in other books. So what if that is the reason why... I think I am on the money on this. I think I am. So that is why he's alive for that long. So he has yet to make a complete Philosopher's Stone. And his goal, I'm guessing, for these big sacrifices is to make a complete Philosopher's Stone. Okay, so I'm starting to see what's going on here now that I think about it. Now looking at the scheme of the story, to what direction it's going. Okay, so let's get off that segment. Let's talk about other things now. I think I theory crafted long enough, and I bet you all are like, what the fuck, Chibi? Go on to other segments. Okay, so what we see going on is a conspiracy going on and building up in Disc 2. It's been building up since Disc 1, but it's mainly coming to the front of the story in Disc 2 because we have a death of a couple of characters in this disc. And the way the deaths were done in this, oh my god. Like, I remember slightly how the deaths were handled in the Fullmetal Alchemist. Like, I remember how it was done with Use. It's completely different the way it's done. Like, oh my god. When I watched episode 10, when I started Disc 2, that was sad as fuck. Like, I completely forgot about that. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, whoa. The way it was done, though, it was handled a lot better. It was executed a lot better compared to the original, in my personal opinion. The way it looked, the way it was done, the atmosphere of that scene, and the music. The execution of Yu's death, along with, you know, the funeral, or getting to see Roy Mustang, the way he was crying. It's like, it's raining, and you just see this tear go down his eye. That was sad as fuck. That was so fucking sad. That was so fucking sad. And when you see after that, as the episodes build up, you see to where Roy Mustang finally figures out who probably killed Hughes, and he kills the girl, even though she was framed. He kills her, which I have a couple of theories to that too, but he kills her, burns her alive, and she dies too. And the way that was done, I have my suspicions about that, because the way the ending, or the final episode, episode 17 to be exact, on Disc 2, was handled, it makes me assume that Roy Mustang, he set up, like, this little play. Like, he put up a little play and a, you know, a little story, and I feel like she's still alive. I feel like that girl is still alive, because the way it was done, the way he was smiling, you know, how his, like, second-in-command just walked out and, you know, just went on some time leave. It looked like he was just making it appear like he was putting up an appearance for people that were watching him to make it to where he is not searching anymore for information. That's the way it looked like to me, the way it was handled. So, I feel like she's not really dead. I feel like she is alive. And Roy Mustang is just putting up an appearance. That's what I think is going on there. So, that's my thoughts on that. Also, 66, you know, the robot armor, the knight armor, the, number 66, he comes back in this. And I don't remember him having much of a role in the original Fullmetal Alchemist. I don't remember him having much of a role, but to see how his body is being used as a chimera, like, on the final scene of Disc 2, Episode 17, we find out that his body, the Chopper, his body is turned into a chimera. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what? It just, like, his body has been turned into a chimera. And I don't remember that either. So, yeah, there's a lot of changes going on with this. It's making me happy because I'm able to fucking Fury Craft. Like, I'm able to Fury Craft of what's going to go on. It's getting my interest into the series grow. Like, I really want to know what's going to go down now. Like, I'm probably going to start Disc 3 after I'm done with this and edit it and upload it because I'm getting hyped up. I really am getting hyped up for seeing what is going to happen next. Scar. Oh, yeah. Scar also in this disc. He gets 2 new companions. He gets, like, the Alchemist from the first part of Disc 1 that, you know, Edward and the Elric brothers kind of fucked over. Well, he comes back and he's working with Scar. Like, he's traveling with him, being kind of his, you know, chaperone and just, you know, leading him to where he needs to go. And then you also have this little girl that gets introduced, and she can use this different side of alchemy. Like, she has this different knowledge of it. I think it's like alchemy or something like that. I think that's the name. I'm probably wrong with that. But there's this different culture to alchemy, which brightens or gives some world building to Fullmetal Alchemist. Like, we got some world building because we know now that there's different ways of teaching alchemy. Like, you have alchemy, and when you have, like, alchemy that's taught in different types of countries. So, world building elements going on there. And this actually leads into the topic I want to discuss. We come to find out that the main concept of the powers is, like, reconstruction, deconstruction. I'm liking the way alchemy is being handled in this series. Like, the way it's being developed or fleshed out in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, I'm liking the concept of it. Like, at first glance, it's very simple, but it's so clever. It's so clever the way the writer of the series, the mangaka, I guess, used real physics and chemistry and stuff like that to really use as powers in this series, like for alchemy. I like that so much because it just adds a different type of appreciation for the series because you could tell that the mangaka did a little bit of research into chemistry and physics and stuff like that. Even though not all the things that happen in the series is, you know, 100% legit. I'm just saying that you could tell the manga at the very least tried to learn some chemistry and some physics and add it into the series and add a different layer to this type of manga. And I like that. I do like seeing how the manga did something like that, and it makes me appreciate the series so much more. And I'm loving the power system, the way it's done, like, you know, deconstruction, reconstruction, and the way it was fleshed out in that little mini training arc, like an episode 2 training arc with the Elric brothers trying to learn from their teacher when they were trapped on the island and they were having to fend for themselves. I like that a lot. Oh yeah, we also come to find out that the Elric brothers' teacher also committed the forbidden taboo of trying to bring back the dead. From what we find out in that sequence is the mother lost her child. And in her desperation to bring back her child that was yet to breathe any air in the fresh world, she lost a bit of her organs. Like, majority of her organs, she lost pieces of her organs inside of her, and it caused it to where she will puke up blood randomly every so often, which is, oh my god, I'm surprised she's still alive. So, she also committed that taboo and sacrificed some of her organs, and she failed, and then you see this little humongous baby thing that's an abomination. I wonder what happened to that creature, too. A lot of questions I have right now because of the father introduction, because it just changes my entire perspective of what homunculus are in this series and the true meaning behind them. And also with that, I have to say, I'm liking the development of how Al now can use the transmutation circles. Like, he doesn't need transmutation circles. He could just put his hands together and he can use alchemy because he now has his memory back of when he went into that door and he learned all that information. That's something I forgot to mention in my last review, or my first impressions, like, of Disc 1. I like how the world, like this little world, like this world inside that door, can reveal all the secrets known to man, but, like, there was just so much information flooding into them, it's like they couldn't remember it all, and it kind of broke them down, and Al lost majority of his body because of it, but he learned some probably really crazy techniques that's going to help him out in the future. I'm willing to bet Al is going to learn some really awesome techniques, like, better than even Edward, because he lost his entire body when he went in there, so he probably got a lot more knowledge. And that's about it. I mean, this disc, what can I say, man? I'm getting fucking hyped. Like, I'm getting really hyped for this series now. I'm gonna go watch disc 3 now, because I'm really hyped. I gotta go start it. It was fun. Bradley's also evil, and he's actually my favorite character. I know a bunch of Chibis are gonna ask that. Yes, Bradley is my favorite character, even though he's evil. I'm assuming he's evil. He has a child. He has a child and a wife. Wonder how he's going to handle that, because Homunculus had a child. That's about it. So, tell me your thoughts. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.